What is your full name?
William Leroy Keys, Keys.
Where and when were you born?
7/23/24, July 23rd, 1924.
Where?
Astoria, Oregon.
How old are you currently?
92.
What was your full rank by the time you left the armed services?
Private first class for a short time.
And what were the military units that you were a part of?
Infantry.
But what division, what regiment?
91st Infantry. 361st, I believe, Regiment. Company B.
Baker.
Baker Company.
And what was your specific role?
Scout in the infantry.
Can you talk to me about the incident that led to you getting the Silver Star suit?
Yes. I was a scout in the infantry up at just below Bologna. And the war was nearly over. A lot of the German troops were giving up voluntarily. And I thought they all knew about it, and I kind of let my guard down. And I went by a camouflaged machine gunner, and he didn't know the war was over. He machine gunned me. And he put so many holes in me, the attending doctor said, "He's got so many bullet holes in him, I can't count them. Just put down multiple gunshot wounds to the chest, stomach, and abdomen." My intestines all fell out in the dirt, and some other parts, I put them all back in, put my shirt tail over them, and brought my knee up to hold the shirt tail. Just then he was lifting his gun off the mount. Just before he did, he put a single shot, went in there and out there to make sure I was gone. And when he got his machine gun up in his arm and turned his back on me, I got him right between the shoulder blades with my M1. I raised it up with my foot to elevate it and got it right pointed and knocked him down. He was dead. And just then his his ammo bearer and his water man was water cooled machine gun, 31 caliber. They come up to the edge to see what happened, and I got both of them right in the mug, right in the face. They went down. That's what I got the Silver Star for.
You saw it hit them in the face?
Yeah. Oh yeah, it splattered her face good.
At this point, was the war over or no?
No, it was still going, but it was nearly over. It was, for us, it was considered over. And for most of them it was, but there were some men out that hadn't heard it yet, that didn't know it was over.
Did you think you were going to die?
Oh yeah. We're laid out there, all of us that got shot up that day, we're laying out in this cow barn where they backed the cows out, and this doctor come by with the nurse describing our situation and how to treat it.
How long were you laying out there before you got a medic?
Oh, half an hour, 15 minutes to half an hour.
What's going on in your mind?
Well,
As you're laying there with...
I had read my first aid book. I know to clean your intestines before you put them in, but I didn't get them clean enough. There was a mud clot and a hayseed about that long went in with them. So about 3-4 days later in the hospital, I got peritonitis. You know what that is? When your appendix breaks, you get appendicitis. I got appendicitis from one of them foreign objects in my stomach. Well, my nurse come running and poured penicillin in there and shook me around and brought a little pump to pump it out. And another nurse come running and slapped my face to get me moving and put a paper sack over my head so I would rebreathe the air doctors and nurses understand that, I don't. But it's a procedure. And my whole front end was open then it blew away the whole. I could see my heart with the mirror. Look at my diaphragm was gone, and my what's the other? Your diaphragm and your other thin thing that diaphragm. And the guy next to me had a Coke. I told you I drank that Coke, a slug of it. It was going to be fatal. If I'm going to die, I'm going to die happy with Coke.
Did you drink it?
I took a big slug of that Coke, and it come kapoop, kapoop, kapoop out that hole.
How bad did that hurt?
Didn't hurt at all. But I was the luckiest man in the world. Coca-Cola was the only soft drink carbonated that used pure water. No impurities in it. If I'd used 7-Up or any of that, I'd have been dead. But Coca-Cola saved my life there. Then I ended up in the hospital. In the hospital, I did 13 major surgeries in 12 months, reconstructing my front end and that. This was a gallbladder operation later. Had nothing to do with my war wound.
Talk to me about some times that you thought you weren't gonna make it, combat-wise.
Well, when I was laying there in that barn floor, I didn't think I was going to make it. And when I put my insides and all that back in,
Besides that.
I didn't see how they're gonna.
Besides that.
Oh, I never thought I wasn't gonna make it no other time. I fought to the best of my.
Didn't you get wounded 3 times?
Yeah,
How
but they weren't fatal.
How did you get wounded the 2 other times?
Well, one in the arm I told you about.
No.
Oh, I got shot in the arm there. See the scar?
How?
With a sharpshooter out of the the Leaning Tower of Pisa. A sniper.
Sniper shot you from the Leaning Tower?
Yeah,
How did you guys rout him out?
How did I what?
How did you guys get rid of him?
Well, we were going to blow the tower over. And my buddies all come up and put dynamite around the edge of it. We're just ready to set it off. And our general rolled up in the Jeep. Don't shoot that, don't shoot that. That's one of the 7 wonders of the world. We'll just bypass it and starve them out. So they did. But he shot at my helmet, I think, and it dropped and hit me in the arm there and come out there and stuck in my gun butt that I had under my arm. When I pulled it loose, the bullet was still sticking out of the gun butt. So then they took me to a hospital, ended up in Naples for a couple months while he did surgery there and got bone splinters. It splintered that bone in there somewhat. I went in my throat a second base.
How'd you get wounded the other time?
The other time, we're sitting behind a big rock, cooking eggs in mess kits. And a mortar shell from the Germans come right down on our fire. And it was kind of muddy and soggy, and our eyes were runny, and terrible mess. And there were 4 of us with mess kits, north, south, east, and west. And that shell lit and it went down in the mud far enough that when it exploded, it hit the mud. And it blew us all 4 somersaulting backwards. I still have a piece of it right there. Little bump. Souvenir, that's a piece of that.
Of the 88?
No, a mortar shell. I don't know what caliber it was.
Can I?
Yeah, you can feel it, yeah.
Does that hurt?
No.
That's metal?
That's metal.
Every time you go through a screen,
yeah,
metal
they
detector?
pick that up. That's not vicious, so they pick it up. They pick up my metal hip and my metal knee and.
You're half metal.
Oh.
How'd you get the Bronze Star?
That was back when I did that take that I blew the track off of with my dynamite.
You didn't tell me about that. What happened?
That pile of corn stalks that was piled up. You know what corn stalks are?
What?
the stalk that the corn grows on.
Okay.
There was a big pile of them. And I determined I'd hoed enough corn on the farm to know that that little field wouldn't produce that many corn stalks. There's something haywire. So I went around the bushes just while I'm scouting. That's what I'm scouting for. And told my sergeant, don't go up the road any further.
Were you telling him with the radio?
No, I went back and told him personally
Okay.
that there's something up there under those corn stalks because there aren't enough area to grow that much corn. He said, well, I'll give him a couple of anti-tank grenades that they shoot them from a rifle. And they go, zzz, and they don't aim them, they put them against the ground, and he didn't hit either one of them. So I said, let me go and give him one of my dynamite hand caps. I made my own out of half a stick of dynamite.
How would you make your own grenades?
Take a stick of tea or dynamite, cut it in half with a knife, and you take a fuse piece and put a cap on it, like empty 22 shell, and you push that in there, and then you light the fuse. I tie the fuse to the stick so it didn't come loose when I threw it. And then I'd light it and throw it. And I threw it at the tank, and the first one was a little bit short. So I gave it my other one. I had two of them. And when I gave him the second one, it knocked the tank track off of the thing, and he couldn't go. Just go around the circle. Well, they knew the jig was up, so they come out with their hands up. And when they did, about 15 more Germans come out of a cave that they were protecting. And so we got 15 captured in the tank.
18.
Yeah,
And that was all because of you.
yeah. So
Were
I
you by
got,
yourself, or was it how far back were the rest of the guys?
they were out of sight around the corner down the road. But they
So
were up.
you took all these guys prisoner.
Yes, I got written there that I did. That's what I got the first. I got 2 Bronze Stars.
What was the other
One
ones?
of them was for our unit. Our whole unit got one.
Mm.
And I don't remember what that was for. I think probably when we took that hillside away from the German.
What happened?
That hillside, Livorgnano. But I had 2 Bronze Stars there, 3 Purple Hearts, and 1 Silver Star. And should have got the Medal of Honor, but General Livesay was too busy. And when he got unbusy, we were separated and didn't ever get it. They have a place on my Silver Star where it was written up, where it had depleted, been alterated. He scratched out the Silver Star and put in, he scratched out the Medal of Honor and substituted Silver Star for it. Tells that on the original. But he says, we'll take care of that later. I said, I have a big battle coming up in 2 days, offensive, against the Germans in the Apennine Mountains. And then I was over in Italy on the burial details. We go over there every year and decorate the graves of our missing buddies that are buried over there. We have 3 fabulous cemeteries in Italy.
Yes, sir.
And we go over there and decorate their graves.
And
Now I got off of my track.
you would decorate the graves.
Yeah. But I got off why I was on that.
You were talking about how he wrote you up for the Silver Star.
Oh. Well, he wrote me up for the Medal of Honor, but they gave me a Silver Star instead of the Medal of Honor. He said there's too much red tape to a Medal of Honor, and I don't have time to divide my thoughts. I have to prepare for a battle in 2 days. General Livesay. And he stamped it and signed his signature on it. That's in here someplace, in them papers. So
Can you
that
talk,
was verified.
Can you talk to me about the church incident? Not the bayonet one, but the other church.
The other church. That's the only church we were involved in.
The one that you guys blew up.
I don't remember blowing up a church.
Right.
We blew up their bell tower. They had a bell tower that went way up in there with 3 bells.
Is that the one that they rebuilt?
Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
Tell me what happened. What happened?
Well, they had snipers up in the bell tower, and we kept shooting it down and shooting. There's pictures of that in there too.
And where?
In that box that you brought out here, somewhere there's pictures of.
Pictures you took?
No, that they sent me.
Continue. So
Yeah.
what happened?
Well, they sent us pictures of that town. It's on the cover of several of our informational things they sent. And that church was taken down to rubble. It was just rubble. We annihilated that church. The only thing left was the one main room where they had their services.
What took it out? Tanks?
Huh?
Did tanks take it out?
No, there was no tanks.
So what took it out? Grenades?
Artillery.
Mm.
Heavy artillery.
Just because of the snipers.
Yeah.
Talk to me about, before you continue, what is it like to be going through a town not knowing if you have a sniper's bead on you? What is that feeling like?
Well, we're going through observing everything we can and crouch down so they have a smaller target.
Mm.
And I've had snipers shoot at me several times, but they missed. And we'd send word back to our platoon and they'd wipe them out some way or another. Hand grenade them or shoot artillery at them and knock them down. All the churches' steeples, they had this bell, 3 big bells, huge, enormous. Big fat men would swing on them, and they would play, and they would go up and down the canyon for 20 miles each way. You could hear those bells. They're playing tunes on them. Oh, they were gorgeous. Well, we wiped out their bell tower, so for years afterwards, we took up collections in our reunions to build a new bell tower. So we built them a new bell tower in Livergnano at their church, and we also built them a new church. I've been in that church.
Can you describe to me in as much detail as possible the incident with the bayonets? Start from the very beginning. What the mission was, what happened.
We
As much detail,
entered this church that had been wiped out with the deal of killing 2 snipers that were sniping at us.
Is this in a town?
In Livergnano,
Is in the middle of the town?
on the edge of town.
Okay.
There's a rock road goes up, and it's up on the high ground.
Surrounded by forest?
By what?
Is it surrounded by forest?
No,
What's it surrounded by?
brush.
Okay.
There's no trees. They burned everything there was up there the Germans had for fuel
Hmm.
to keep their foxholes warm. And
Hmm.
there was no trees in Italy at all.
Is that right?
Yeah, every tree was cut off at
Okay.
the ground used for firewood. Well, we got up to the church and we knocked the door down. And the church was plumb full of German soldiers, armed to attack our company in a few minutes. We didn't have any arms, any bullets in our gun, because we weren't expecting Germans in the church.
How were weren't you going in the church to take out the snipers?
Yeah,
So,
we were going in the church and go up this stairwell and hand grenade the snipers. That's what we had intended to do.
So what weapons did you have with you?
Just our rifle and our grenades.
So you were armed.
Yeah. Huh?
But you mentioned earlier that you didn't have your arms.
We didn't have bullets in our guns.
You didn't have bullets?
No, not in our guns, no. We weren't going to fight.
Why are you not always supposed to keep a bullet in?
No, no.
Why not?
Because they're dangerous.
There's no safety, is there, on that kind of gun?
No, no.
So you
No.
you only put bullets in when you're...
When you use it, yeah.
So there were no bullets
No bullets in our gun. We
So-
were unarmed.
Is the church destroyed?
Dirt was wiped out.
So... But I thought you said you opened some doors.
They were doors to the church, but they were only doors to no roof and no hardly any, and some of the bell towers still sticking up there.
Okay.
And but
How did you get to the church without the snipers picking you off?
well, there was a cliff stung out over it. They couldn't get at us till we got up close. When we got up close, I was a scout. I got up close, and they sniped at us. So they sniped at us and didn't hit nobody. They hit me in the arm, but that was back at the other snipers. These snipers up there didn't hit nobody I know.
How many guys were with you?
Well, our whole company,
200 guys?
140 about. We were lacking a few.
You were what?
We were lacking a few.
So
Got wounded and whatever.
140.
About 140, yeah.
Why is a whole company going to take out snipers?
We're going to take them out and then proceed down and get the Germans.
Okay,
We'll arm up in the church.
got it.
But we got in the church. I got in the church, and it was plumb full of Germans.
Were you the one who opened the doors?
Yeah, yeah.
So, I'm just confused. If all the sides were broken down, couldn't you see them without?
No, they were protected up to here. They could get down out of sight.
Is that what they were doing?
Yeah, they'd shoot at us, then duck down. But when they stick their head up to shoot, that's when we were going to try to get them.
Were they all lying down when you opened?
Two of them were up in the bell tower. There was still some standing. There was 150 Germans in the church. I'm saying could have been 100.
Laying down? They were all laying?
No, they were standing up.
So, before you opened the door, I'm asking, couldn't you see them from the side?
No, they were all inside the church. We're on one side, they're on the other.
You said the church, the walls were all broken down.
Well, you'd have to see the picture. All but the chapel. The chapel on the side of the church
Okay.
was still intact.
They were in the chapel.
Yeah,
Okay.
and they were all armed, ready to attack in a few minutes, which they did. They captured my company.
But describe the incident. You were the first one in?
Yes,
And what happens?
Well, I seen what happened. I got 15 of my buddies to bayonet up and back against the wall because they're captured, my whole company.
Why aren't they shooting at you, the Germans?
Because they'd hit their own men. We were all interspersed with their men. And one bullet, see, their bullets are steel. They're not like our sporting loads. They'll go through 3 or 4 guys. And they couldn't shoot because they'd hit their own men if
So
they didn't.
were your bayonets already in? On?
No, we put them on.
I'm just confused because... Okay, so this door, right?
Yeah.
You open it and you walk out into the church.
Yeah.
Aren't there Germans right there?
Yeah.
So,
But
why don't they kill you?
our company stormed in when they seen all the Germans and interspersed. They were going to use anything they could. Hand grenades, rifle butts, but they didn't have no bullets in their guns. And you can't put bullets in your guns when the Germans are right there. They captured my whole company except for 15 of us that bayoneted up.
So you bayoneted up and what, you went back against the door?
Not against the door, it's gone against the wall. a down wall in there.
And what happened?
And we started bayoneting our way out towards the way the Germans had come in.
So the Germans weren't shooting either.
No, they weren't shooting either.
They were bayonet.
No, they didn't bayonet either. They ran. Because they didn't want to get their own men wounded. And we bayoneted probably 20 Germans there. I got 3. My buddy that wrote me the letter, he got 5, he said.
Describe to me those 3 guys that you got. Where did you get them?
Right in the chest.
And what were they? They just went one after another?
Yeah, mm-hmm.
They just ran at you?
Yeah. Well, they were helter-skelter. I'd see one that was pointing the right way, I'd ram him. And you just had to find one that was available. I had 3, and my big buddy from Kansas got 5, he says in his
Is he
letter.
still alive?
I doubt it. He was way older than me, and I don't know.
Do you remember his name?
Well, it's in my written stuff there. A letter I got, a little
What else happens?
note from him.
What else happens?
Well, we chased him out the door and down the hill
All 15
with their bayonet.
All 15 of you made it?
Yeah, as far as I know. Yeah.
And then?
Yeah.
And then?
Well, we stayed on the face of that hill. The Germans had went down the hill, but they'd captured my whole company. They had them with them as prisoners, and they were unarmed, so they weren't worried about them. They'd had them throw their guns down, but then as soon as they got them down, they started putting mortars shells into where we had been camped, and they hit my company headquarters, and just everything went flying. And next day, a guy found a paper with my name on it and gave it to me. And it was that paper where I'd been awarded the Silver Star and Medal of Honor, but didn't come. That's Silver Star up there.
Tell me about some other combat incidents, please.
Well, there was this old house that was right on the highway, and we wanted to use it for a fortress. And the Leaney brothers from Leaney Lambrusco Wine was their old folks' home. And we wanted to use it for our hangout, to get oriented. And there was a dead German laying on the floor in the basement. And I told my buddy, you take the feet, I'll take the arms, and we'll sling him out this window out into the yard. Well, we went to sling him and his arms came off. And his legs came off.
Is
He
that
was
right?
spoiled. He'd been there for a couple of weeks, I guess, or longer.
Tell me,
But we didn't know it.
do you remember?
He was in uniform, and
Do you remember other times that you had to shoot
Yeah.
Germans?
gosh, they were so intermingled.
Just
Yeah.
you don't need to give to
Yeah.
me an order. Just tell me what you remember.
I remember my night patrols we went on. We'd shoot one once in a while. My corporal that went out with us one night, he was a potato grower from Idaho. He had an anti-tank grenade on his rifle. And we heard Germans coming down this cobblestone path. He says, Bill, I'm going out in the middle of that and shoot. It's black night. And he aimed it down the walk and pulled the trigger, and that missile went through the air, and he forgot to pull the detonating pin. And the next day with field glasses, there's 3 dead Germans with a hole in them. One was behind the other one.
Is that
It went
right?
right through all 3 of them.
Honest.
Yeah, I seen them. Yeah.
What else?
Newshack Williams was his name.
What else?
Well, that was one night on patrol. can't think of nothing else.
I thought you told me you remember every day.
Well, I remember everything but getting it in order, and I have a skip to Maru once in a while.
You what?
My short memory doesn't things. After you leave, I'll think of 100 things that come to me. I was second up on Salerno. That's what I was trying to. I was in the second invasion. I wasn't in on the first wave of it. I was in on the second wave.
Of Salerno or Anzio?
Salerno.
That's the first invasion of Italy.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I was in on that. And I think I probably shot 2 Germans that day. But I didn't pay no, they went down, and that's all I seen. I had a good bead on them, and I knew how to trigger a M1 real good. And I was a crack shot. I was an excellent shooter.
Did it affect you killing them?
Huh?
Did it affect you when you shot them?
No. That's what I was sent over there to do. My president sent me over there to shoot them Germans. And no more than drowning a dog or a cat. To me, one of the years ago in your history books, one of the leaders over there in Africa, his commander come to me and says, "What do we do with the good ones?" He says, "Kill them all. Let the man up there judge them." See, so that's what we killed them all. All the Germans we come to, we didn't capture any captured there. We killed them down there. Because if you don't kill them, they'll kill you.
Tell me more.
Well, we kill them, and once in a while, some of them we'd get up to, and they hadn't shot us. We'd take them prisoner, and then turn them over to the Italians to take care of them.
The underground.
The underground.
What would they do to them?
Well, they were bad.
Like what?
Well, they'd cut their penis off and stuff it in their mouth, and see, these Germans had pulled the old lady's teeth with gold in it and stuff. I told you. We're just on TV.
Tell me again, though. Tell me.
It was on TV the other day. The Germans carried old pliers, and the ladies gold in their teeth. A lot of it over in Italy. They'd pull their teeth out and throw them in a box, and they had boxes of teeth. And they would take the rings off their finger, and if it wouldn't come off, they had a thing to put their finger in and cut the finger off and pull it off, and that's the way they got their gold rings off.
So, did you ever see the Italian resistance do their work?
No, I didn't. No.
But you even back.
They'd take them underground and take them away, and give us a bottle of wine for the German.
Was that against your orders to bring them back to the?
Oh yeah, we're supposed to turn them into the replacement, or not replacement, to the, what do you call it when you capture them?
POW camp.
POW camp, yeah. We're supposed to send them all back there.
But you would turn them in?
But we didn't want to go back there. We wanted to stay up here and do our work. So we'd send them back if they were good Germans. Now, there were good Germans were old men and young boys. We didn't kill them. We'd send them back to POW camp. And you could discern which was which by their collar on their uniform. The real Hitler-trained Germans had swastikas on their collars. They're the ones we turned over to the underground. The ones that had a plain old collar shirt, they were draftees, or when he was getting desperate for men. So we'd let them go.
Can you tell me some more combat experiences?
Well, when we battered the door down and gonna get them snipers.
What happened?
That area in there, we spent 4 months there.
Where?
Fighting Germans in, I'm gonna say 44.
Where?
40. Livorgnano, Italy.
Was that heavy fighting?
Yes, it was heavy fighting there all winter. Monte Castello and all of those old mountain fortresses. They were spent 2.5 years building fortresses, the Germans did, up in the Apennine Mountains in solid rock with captive labor, with Italian laborers, chiseling rock. They went in and they didn't make an escape route, the dummies. We brought flamethrowers up there behind our tanks and used flamethrowers on them. Now, a flamethrower don't burn nobody. All we do is squirt the flamethrower in the entrance to the tunnel, and it excludes the oxygen. They would die of lack of oxygen. They weren't burnt, but they knew that, and they'd come out with their hands up, and then we'd select the ones for the Italians and the ones to send back.
Who was your best buddy?
My best buddy was Herman Buscher.
Your assistant scout?
Yeah, right on, yeah. Yeah, he was...
Was he your age?
No, he was a little older than I was, I think. Yeah. He was sort of an incorrigible character. He was from Chicago, and he'd been sent up to Seattle to live with his grandparents. I think somebody that's sent around like that is because their parents can't keep track of them. They send them to a more stricter atmosphere. Anyway, we got along fine. Herman the German. We talked the Germans into giving up when we're out on patrol. It was quite a successful operation. Up in the town of Livorno, Italy, up towards the top of real combat. The Germans had the upper hand of this. Do you know what Diamond Head is? Tillamook Head? You know what Diamond Head in Hawaii looks like? Haven't seen a picture of it.
What is it?
It's on Oahu.
What is it?
Diamond Head, it's a big rock that empties into the ocean. All right, these Indians were on this, or Germans were on top of this momentous mountain. And the front end was sheer rock, and the back end was sheer sandstone. Steep. They knew we couldn't get up it, so they didn't guard it. Well, they're all out here on the front, guarding the front side. And I observed it in my 10th Mountain ski troops. I learned to pompier. So I got two pompier. I got 2 fence pickets from a farmer's fence there, and I put a square horseshoe nail through the end of it. That's a long nail that's square. They put them through and bend them over to hold the horseshoes on the horseshoe. Nailed that into that end of that picket, and then I took wire and wrapped around it so it wouldn't pop back out. And I used them to climb this sandstone cliff. And I had a rope on my belt. And when I got up there, I made the rope tied on a big rock, and the guys come scurrying up that rope, bringing ladders and ropes. Pretty soon there was about 20 of us up there, and more coming all the time.
Are you guys taking on fire?
Huh?
Are you guys taking on German fire?
No, they weren't guarding us back there. They were only guarding the front. Well, we come into them from the back. Surprise attack. And we got them from the back, and we shot a lot of Germans. We shot them and killed them there. The worst thing I saw was Anzio. I saw that, but I wasn't in it.
What happened?
We went by it, all the dead men floating in the water, and on the beach there was quite a wipeout.